Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I am Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. If you are new to my channel, I'm so glad you're here. Glad you landed. Stick around for a while. If you like what you see and hear, hit that like and subscribe button. I am a tarot reader, tarot and oracle reader. I do pick a card readings at least twice a month for the full moon and new moon. And then more regularly, about 3 times a week, I check in with you all on the political tip. I used to cover politics a lot when I was a newspaper reporter way back in the day, so I sort of married the two in my spiritual practice. All right, you all. Let's start out with the wild situation with Mark Robinson that's developed. Now, we knew out of North Carolina, we knew that his odds of winning governor hopefully were going down, down, down as more and more was being revealed about him. Anytime, remember Governor Roy Cooper bowed out of contention in the for the VP situation with Kamala Harris because he did not want to take a chance on having Mark Robinson, who is the lieutenant governor of North Carolina, have to step in. Like, he was like, I can't even do that in all good conscience to my people. So, of my state, right? So that right there and there, that told you what was up. We've seen clips of him in church pulpits, no less, talking about, sometimes people just need to be killed. As simple as that. Well, now the latest, it's come out that Mark Robinson, look, I put out my little spray and I forgot to do it. I'm gonna send you all a little sweetness, a little love as well. I hope you can feel that, see that, and also cleanse my deck before we go in on that. So he turns around and says, comes just point blank period and says he's a black Nazi. You know what I'm saying? He came out and just said it out point blank and said it with his chest. Like, that's right. Now also there are the discovery of, and CNN is doing this doggone job on this one. They've been pissing a lot of us off. CNN, all these major networks, they've been ticking a lot of us off with some of their shenanigans and whatever. That's a whole other thing with the media. But they dug down on this one and they went in and they got the goods on this guy visiting these porn sites. They've got shop owners saying, yeah, he was in here 5 days a week with a pizza in the back booth for hours at a time. Like, they got him on that. I don't know that so much would, because it's twisted as some of these Epstein-esque power brokers can be in Trump's hemisphere. I don't know that in and of itself, the porn stuff would be enough to sway the voters in North Carolina. But this whole, in relation to, being a Nazi, saying point blank he wouldn't mind if slavery came back because he'd like to buy a few slaves. Woo, ancestors. That boy and I'm saying boy, he's got some stuff coming for him down the pike. But that said, of course, Donald Trump has been, he's a very fine man. He is MLK on steroids, he said, quote unquote, right? Referring to Mark Robinson. So, and his sons, Eric Trump and Don Jr., I've seen clips of them, Mark Robinson's such a great guy. He's a really fine guy, So, then after, in the wake of all of this stuff that came out, especially yesterday, the Trump campaign was trying to get Mark Robinson to bow out of the race. Mark Robinson's not going to bow out of the race. So, Spirit, I think we got us about, 16 electoral votes in North Carolina? North Carolina can be a little purplish anyway. I think, but yeah, it's about to say, let's just come out in our blues for this election. Spirit, will North Carolina go for Kamala Harris? We only got 40-something days left, you all. Will North Carolina go for Kamala Harris, especially in the wake of what's come out with Mark Robinson? Four of Wands. Somebody's going to ask me, so I'll tell you, for those of you who read, this is called the Super Lunaris deck. All right, Super Lunaris. Four of Wands. Commitment. Coming together. This is a lot of people in North Carolina, and we know this is going to happen around the country. All the Republicans for Harris. This is going to be the people of North Carolina coming out across party lines, racial lines, different demographics in the state, all across the state, from the mountains to the ocean. North Carolina is a very interesting state. I used to live in Raleigh for many years. So yes, they're coming together. They are committed to making sure that the right thing is done, not just in terms of the governor's race, but of course, because of this, it's going to affect the whole ballot. And so people are going to vote for Harris as well. We have the hermit because of what people are learning, because people are truly searching their souls. It's interesting because in a state like North Carolina, where you do have a lot of really die-hard Republicans, especially in some of the more rural counties, so there's a searching themselves, with the hermit. See her there in repose and sort of praying on it. You're gonna have a lot of folks going to their God, and as they used to say in the Christian church, back in my days in the Christian church, going into their prayer closet and really getting one-on-one with their spirit and saying, I don't know that I like Kamala Harris. I don't know that I like Democratic, policies, etc. But this, I'm not so sure that I can do this. I may have to cross party lines. And I think because the hermit handles its business, it's ruled by Virgo, this is not going to play into the fears of if people can't, they don't want to they cannot handle anymore what's happening with the Republican Party. But they just also can't force themselves to vote for Democrats. This is that deciding factor. This is that I also cannot afford to sit home and not vote. So that is a really good sign. Couple more, Spirit. Will North Carolina go to... Done. We can go ahead and get to the next question. We have ourselves the sun, my friends. We have ourselves the sun. North Carolina is going to go for Kamala Harris, and and there were a lot of signs pointing to that outside of what's happened recently with Mark Robinson. There were a lot. We knew that North Carolina was definitely in play. The Harris Walz campaign has been really smart about visiting the state repeatedly. So yeah, I think North Carolina knows what it needs to do. And Mark Robinson, but it's going to be very interesting, Spirit. I'm just curious, how is the Trump campaign going to try and spin this to try and distance themselves? Because North Carolina, the governor's race aside, they still want to try and fight for those electoral votes. How is the Trump campaign going to try and distance themselves from Mark Robinson? What is going to be their long-term reaction to this? How will they try and deal with this? Keeping in mind as well, that whole black Nazi comment. I don't know why I'm having trouble with that word, probably because I just don't want to say it. Not only that, but also what that flashpoint of what that means. And remember, Trump was just in Washington, I think it was, I think also yesterday, with Israeli doing an anti-Semitism speech for his campaign, attacked the Israeli Americans, attacked them, told them, if you vote for Democrats, it's because they've got a curse on you. And if I lose this election, it's your fault. And Israel is going to be destroyed if I'm not elected. Like, he went in on the very people that he was there to supposedly uplift with a speech on anti-Semitism. Like, whoa, it's just astounding, right? It's just astounding. We shouldn't be surprised anymore. But, how are you going to get in front of a crowd of the people that you are trying to draw close to you, and you basically you use it as a bully pit again to say, you've got a curse on you if and remember, Kamala Harris hates Jews. Like, how many times do they have to tell this guy, look, Don, you got to remember, Doug Emhoff is Jewish, right? Doesn't matter. Blinders, man lives in an alternate reality. All right. But I do want to look at how are they going to Spirit. How will the Trump campaign try to spin to do damage control behind Mark Robinson and distance themselves. And they're going to distance themselves. We have the Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck. That is, you see, she walking away, right? Just trying to walk away. That is an energy of turn your back and keep going in the other direction. But it's going to be too much. Ten of Wands. They've attached themselves too greatly. There are too many. There are too many video clips. There are too many instances where they have, again, Trump, his sons, etc., have expressed vehement support for him. Not just, oh yeah, I know the guy, he's okay. No, like MLK on steroids, a great guy. Yeah, but they're going to try and walk away because it carries too much weight. And that was in the past. Got it. They're the Six of Cups, very often a card of good times in the past. So I think we're probably going to hear some things that say these things were brought to our attention the same way that it's been brought to yours. We knew certain things of Mark Robinson. We did not know these other things. We didn't know about the porn sites and the and some of these other things that are coming to light around him. So yeah, they're going to walk away. Not going to do any good. All right, you all. I want to move on. Let's now end it on a high note. Let me put a little spirit guide oil on and go into a different kind of energy. I really appreciate you all, by the way. I usually say that when I open a video. So many of you, you're smart, you're engaged, and I truly appreciate the comments. I only ask that we always keep them respectful, whether you're commenting to me, commenting towards one another in the chat, etc. I just ask that you keep it respectful. So Oprah did what was it called? The Unite for America last night live, a YouTube live. They say there were over 100 groups. We had all these cat ladies for Kamala and white guys for Kamala and blah, 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 blah. And it kept mushrooming. Over 100 groups came together last night. They said that at the last count that I saw, there were over 300,000 people who attended the YouTube live, tuned into it. It was, when I post this, I'll find a link because it is on YouTube. I'll find a link and post it in the description box in case some of you have not seen it and care to. So I'll do that. There were, of course, celebrities there. Meryl Streep was there, Tracy Ellis Ross, J-Lo. They were able to lean in and show their support and ask some pretty interesting questions as well. Kamala Harris, we're going to see it all over the media today. I knew it as soon as it came out of her mouth. She knew it. The issue of the Second Amendment and gun rights came up, and Kamala was she was more relaxed. Oprah, you got to watch yourself with Oprah. Let's give Oprah a hand. She has not missed a step. It was masterful. She leaned in. She did what we have known Oprah to do best in terms of being able to engage, and it was just flawless, in my opinion. I'd love to hear what you have to say. It was flawless, the way the production of that, the preparation, and the way Oprah showed up. She has not missed a step. She was in classic form. But the idea that with gun rights, she came out and said, Kamala did. She was in a more relaxed, situation by that time, and she said, I'm all for, very supportive of gun rights. Oprah baited her and was like, you got a gun? I didn't know that. And she says, yeah, somebody breaks in my house, they're gonna get shot. And then she immediately caught herself, right? You heard, and she was like, no, I probably shouldn't have said that, but that's okay. We'll handle it. My staff will handle it. We'll handle it later. Listen, they're going to try and twist that, but at the end of the day, any of us, Democratic, Republican, black, white, purple, zebra with some stripes, right? Doesn't matter who you are. If you are in your home and you are a gun owner and someone tries to break into your home, what are you going to do, right? I mean, at a certain point it becomes logical. I didn't find that damaging. Be interested to hear what you have to say. But we know we're going to hear. That's going to make a whole lot of headlines today. Keep it pushing. I want to see... what's that jumping out? The Seven of Wands jumped out as I was talking about that, right? He's like, take a stand, and I said what I said, and I'm sticking to it, right? That's a stand your ground kind of energy. So yeah, I think Spirit is weighing in on that too. Like, yeah, do what you got to do if you're in your home and you're under a threat. That common sense, but I want to take a look. The point, and we knew this as Oprah wrapped up. Oh, and also I want to say this from Spirit. I felt this very strongly as I was preparing today to tape for you all. Let's be mindful of the strength and fortitude that it takes for people who are in deep pain and sometimes shock to speak in front of millions of people about these issues that are extremely personal to them. We saw that 15-year-old, what was her name? Natalie Griffin was on last night on Oprah's Unite for America. She's one of the students, 15 years old, who was shot at the Appalachian High School earlier this month, right? You saw her arm is all bandaged up. Apparently she took a bullet somewhere in this region of her arm. She was all bandaged up. And also you saw a bandage on her arm. She took two bullets in one of her arms. Her mother, bless her heart, was just a complete wreck. Still so emotional about the fact that she could have lost her daughter. And so she was like, I'm ready to fight. Sign me up. We need to do some things about this. So, but just what it takes for someone who's been put in that position so recently to be willing to sit and be under a literal spotlight in front of millions of people. Spirit is just like, please, let's continue to show kindness to one another and really just applaud their courage. We also had there was the family of Amber Thurman out of Georgia. She died as a result of an abortion situation. She went to North Carolina to have a procedure. Apparently it didn't take entirely. By the time she gets back to Georgia, she's feverish, she's sick, she's vomiting, she goes to a hospital. They let her lie there for 20 hours. When she needed a D&C, they refused to perform it for her, and she died. Her mother and sisters were there as well. And just the pain, again, all of this is so fresh and so raw. Like, how many of us in the throes of our darkest moments would be willing to go forward and maybe even willing, but able to go forward and sit and compose ourselves and have to speak to millions of people from the depths of that despair. Like, right? Yeah, let's remember that, right? In the midst of all of this, let's remember that. So, bottom line, I want to see if I'm asking Spirit whether the uncommitteds, if this did something where those people, perhaps independents, perhaps Republicans still, who are not happy with the way things are going with the Trump campaign, I want to see if that is moving the needle. If the uncommitteds are going to come forward and move towards Kamala Harris as a result of just seeing this sort of humanity around some of these issues, and the issues not just gun violence, but again reproductive rights, as in the case of Amber Thurman. Spirit, are people who have been on the fence, how is this playing out? Did Oprah's Unite for America, did that move some people? And is that going to turn some more people in the column of voting for Kamala Harris? I'll tell you what, it was really emotionally disturbing for a lot of people. They were engaged emotionally and they want healing. We have Temperance with the Five of Cups that came at the bottom of the deck, right? So that Five of Cups is that emotional turmoil. Interestingly, and I think a lot of people would agree, and again, if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to the YouTube live. Interestingly, it was a very emotional appeal. It wasn't about, and Oprah doesn't do that. It wasn't about a more sanitized political pundits sitting around and discussing. No, this was intended to ping the emotions. This was intended to to appeal to the humanity in everyone, and that is exactly what it did, you all. That is exactly, because temperance is a card of healing, and beautifully it is also a card of opposites coming together. It is a card of alchemy. It's a card of fire and ice, but somehow coming together and forming something beautiful from it. There is a merging that happens in this kind of energy. So I, for sure, voting aside, it did reach some people. It reached some people. It touched them viscerally. Will that turn into votes? We have the King of Pentacles. I feel like this is male voters, many of whom are, and the Three of Pentacles exactly, working together, willing to work together, building coalitions for her. There's a part of the male psyche here that's really being pinged, you all. We've talked about so much toxic masculinity around MAGA folk, Trump being the head of that and fostering that sort of energy. But there was something here. There was a protective feeling from a lot of men who witnessed that, and we're talking about the Undecideds. There was a protective feeling. There's something where men are responding to this, and they will respond, and hopefully with their votes, around wanting to protect 15-year-olds, who are going to school, or kids in general going to school, women who are in need of medical care, regardless of their race or age or income or any of that. We have the Nine of Cups. That's a desire for more and a desire to end the worries. Nine of Cups and Eight of Swords. Very stressed out. Look at them sitting. You can see it. They're stressed out, sitting on that bridge like, I've had it. Don't even want to look up right now. And here, looking off, gazing into the distance for what is possible, what can be. I do think, Spirit, if this is actually translating, you're showing me the emotions and the momentum of energy. But if this translates into actual votes for Harris, please show me that. Does this translate into actual votes for Harris? Page of Pentacles. Look, I see that as a ballot. Look, standing there holding it up to the light. That's the vote, the ballot, the thing. Being able to be counted. All right, we can put that to rest. Ten of Cups. People wanting to come together, preserve families, preserve democracy. So yes, this did that Unite for America, that YouTube live did have the intended consequence. It drilled down to people's hearts. There was and I think this even more so, Spirit is saying, the guys are saying, even more so than what we witnessed at the Democratic National Convention. Remember, so many people were talking about the joy and just that vibe, that feeling that we all got. But that was a very political, quote unquote, event. It was designed. It needs to be. It's the convention. It was this was a human event. This was Americans from all walks of life type of thing, relating in very real time to one another. I should also give credit to, I can't remember her name, Haley, the one who she appeared she was one of the speakers at the DNC convention in Chicago, who had been abused by her father for many, many years, and then found out she had been impregnated by him. She was also there last night. Wow, the admiration for her. And you could see a certain connection, maybe because Kamala Harris is by now very familiar with her. So at the end, you see an embrace between Kamala and Haley, I believe is her name. Forgive me if I'm getting that wrong. But you could see a connection there that has grown. Tremendous respect, tremendous, it's authentic. And I think that is something that came across very well, very strongly last night with Kamala Harris, is at the end of the day, she is a woman. She is a woman. She is a woman. She is a mother. She is, Tracy Ellis Ross handled that situation. You'll see her, she's at 52 years old and without a child, but being a mother to, in many ways, and to many people. It was just beautiful. Again, I'll put the link. All right, you all, I'm not going to go on and on and on. Enough of that. Take good care of yourselves. Be safe out there. As we say, as my guys always say to share with you, remember, chin up. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Remember to breathe deep, and you're going to be okay. All right? We're all going to be okay with each other. Take good care. I'll talk to you real soon. Bye.